Next, we're going to come in here. We put on our one section of railing here. As you can see, we already have that one finished. We have one piece remaining that we need to get put up. So we're going to come in here, we're going to lay out all our tools, and we're going to get started. Okay, so as you can see, we're now on, this is why we're on hold. We opened up our last box of railing, and as you can see, our railing is broken. So we can't go and put this one on. We have to reorder a new one. So let's get on the computer, order our last rail, and once it comes in, we'll put this job behind us and we'll finish it off. Okay, so here it is a week and a couple of days later, and we finally have our new replacement railing kit. And as you can guess, I did open it up just to make sure it's in good shape. And as you can see, this one here is not broken, but it's actually looking pretty lousy. These balusters here, it looks like they I don't know what the heck they did to them, but they're looking pretty lousy. So we're not going to use those. Let's take a look at our rail to make sure everything else looks pretty good. As you can see, this one looks pretty lousy as well. So I think we're going to swap that out of the other box, and we'll use the one bottom rail from the broken set, and we'll use this one to return. All right, let's get set up and let's wrap this job up. Okay, so now it's time to put our final section of railing in. As you can see, we have our template attached to our post right here, and we have it sitting right on the base for the 4x4 post that we installed. We have it sitting right on the bottom. We taped it in place. Next, we're going to install our mounting hardware here and here, and we're going to pre-drill it just so we make sure it goes exactly where we want it. The bit we're using, in case you don't remember, is a 1/16 inch drill bit. It doesn't really matter as long as it's a little bit thinner than the screw itself. So we're going to take our hardware, put it up on here, and in case you forgot, when you put it on here, you'll see the picture right here of the direction that the hardware is supposed to face. The top one faces up, the bottom one faces down. All right, so let's get in there, let's drill the holes, and we'll attach our pieces on here right now. So we got, as I said, we're going to pre-drill it just through the plastic Trex itself. We don't need to drill into the 4x4 post. Okay. Try to center it, of course, when you're drilling it. And now you can see we have our holes pre-drilled here. We are going to take our driver, we're going to screw it in there nice and slow because we don't want it to make the hole too big. All right, so we're going to put this up in place just like this. Catch our screw like that, and then we're going to screw it in just till it's snug. All right, so it's not tight. You can see it still moves around. And now we'll put our last screw in. We're going to bring it in, put it in the hole, line it up so it's fairly straight here, and screw it down. And now we'll snug them in place here and here. All right, so now it's nice and tight. Let's do the same thing on the bottom one down here. Okay, so once we have these two mounted up on here, we're going to go on the opposite side now. We'll mount the other two on the other post, and then we'll get our rails cut and put them in place. Okay, we have our other post now connected up too. The hardware is now connected. So we're going to take this off now. We don't need this any longer. We'll take this off, and then we'll get our bottom rail cut in position, and we'll wrap this up. Okay, next we're going to bring our bottom rail all the way into position here. We'll go on the other side now, mark it, and we're going to cut it. Okay, we're going to come in here, we're going to mark our rail where it's going to go right here, and we're going to cut it right straight across there. So let's bring it over to the chop saw. Let's cut this off and see if it fits good. Now we're going to take our saw and we're going to cut directly where we wanted it to. Now when you're cutting on this here, make sure you have the blade spinning before you try to bring it down so you don't chip it out. All right, so here we go. Okay, so now it's a nice clean cut. Let's bring it up there and let's make sure it fits. See how it fits. Get it in there. Okay, so we have a nice tight fit now. Everything fits good. But before we do anything on there, we're going to come into the middle of it and we're going to install our leg underneath the bottom. Let me show you what I mean. You see right there? That leg right there? We have to pre-drill the hole down the bottom in there before we mount it up. So what we're going to do is going to measure from this point to this point, and we're going to divide it in half, and then we're going to pre-drill a 3/16 hole down there. So let's do that. Okay, so let's measure the distance between the two posts here so we have an idea. Okay, so we're 76 inches. 76 divided by 2 is 38. So we're going to go 38 inches. 38 inches. And that brings us up right here. But now as you can see, 38 inches is right on this point right here where the deck is actually separated, where it comes together. So I'm going to move it over about an inch. So we're going to have an inch clearance on this side or this side, depending on which one you prefer. So we're going to actually make it right over here. Okay, so we got it now 37 inches. So we're going to drill a hole 37 inches on the bottom here. So we're going to do that first before we mount this up. So let's turn it over. We're going to go 37 inches. Right here. I'm going to mark 37 right here. Now we'll grab our 3/16 drill bit. And now we're going to drill our 3/16 hole right here. Now it does not have to go through the entire railing. We're just going to make it through the top one so that we can install our piece on the bottom. So this way we can install this on the bottom like that, just like that, and level it to hold it in the, so the deck doesn't, so the railing doesn't start to sag over time. So now the hole is drilled in there. Let's turn it over and let's mount this railing up. Okay, now we're going to put the screws in here and here to secure our lower rail. Okay, next we're ready to install our lower rail, and we're just going to keep the rail pushed up all the way up so that it's nice and tight up against the cleat that we installed here, just like that, nice and tight. We're going to take a piece of tape and we're going to put tape right here just because we don't want to scratch the railing, the post when we install these screws. All right, so now you can either take a driver or you could take a drill, and we'll hold the rail in place, lift it up, and we'll screw it down. Okay, same thing here. All three of them. Be careful you don't over tighten it and strip the holes out. Okay, nice and tight. Make sure this is tight. Okay, nice and tight. Let's do the exact same thing on the other side right here now. Now our lower rail is in place. Okay, so now before we proceed to the top rail, we're going to come down here, we're going to cut this bottom piece right here that the balusters fit in. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have equal distance between this end and this end. You don't want to have a baluster on that side that's 1 inch away from the corner post, and you don't want to have this one that's over 3 inches away from it. So you want to try to equalize the distance between the post itself. So now we know. Let me bring in, I'll show you what I mean. See what I mean here? Now if we were to put that all the way against it and cut it here, we would only have in here, we'd only have 2 inches away from there. Where on the other side, we have almost 3 3/4, 4 inches, or 3 1/2, I should say. All right, so we want to try to equalize this distance here with the distance on the other side. So we're going to play back and forth with it until we decide where it's going to be evenly spaced between this side and the other side. So let's do those calculations, and then we're going to go over and cut this on the chop saw. Okay, so now we're ready to cut this on the chop saw. Now when you're trying to cut this here, you have to be extremely careful, because if you go down too fast, you're going to snap these pieces off and you're going to have a piece that's not going to be looking so good. So we're going to go nice and slow through this material here. We're going to bring it down, see where we want it, come back up, start the saw, and then go very slowly through it. Okay, now we have a nice clean cut right here, and it didn't snap off any of the pieces on the bottom right here. Let's turn it around and let's do that on the other side now. So again, we have a nice clean cut. You can see nothing chipped off here. Let's bring it over there. We'll make sure that that's our mark, and then we'll come back, cut it one more time, and we should be good on the bottom part. Okay, so now after we cut it again, now it fits perfectly. Nice and tight. Now we can snap that bottom rail in position at this point too. And the way you do that is just push it down. And that's it. Our bottom rail is now in place. Okay, next we took our posts and we cut our top rail to fit inside between the posts right here and right here. It's a nice tight fit. Next we're going to come underneath the bottom right down here, and we're going to put our screws in the bottom. All right, so let's do that, and we're just about done. Okay, we're going to now hold our top post down, or top of the rail down, and we're going to drive our screws in. Okay, so that one's nice and tight, but before we go any further, let's put our tape in there, just so we don't scratch the post itself, just like this. And we'll drive our other two right in there as well. Okay. Snug them in there. Remember, not too tight. You don't want to strip it out. Okay, let's go to the other side and let's connect the other side up permanently. Next we're going to cut our baluster spacer, and then we'll put the balusters in. And next we're going to be installing the balusters, and the way you do that is you take your top baluster spacer, put it down on the bottom right here, and then we take our ballasts and we slide them in one at a time into both the top and the bottom, like that. Then pull this down, push it over, and up like that, and then we'll continue down the line the exact same thing. Slide it in through both top and bottom, bring it down underneath the rail like that. We're not going to set it up exactly yet. We're going to do this a little later. Push it in like that, bring it down, slide it in. Fairly close. Doesn't have to be perfect. We'll get that in a minute. Now when we have them close, we're going to take our baluster spacer and we're just going to bring it up slowly all the way across. Okay, so now our spacers are all in place. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to be installing the foot that goes down the bottom. So let's do that. Now remember, we have that hole underneath here, and it was about 37 inches from the side. So we know it's going to be right around here someplace. So we'll take the screw off of the bottom. It's taped right on just like that. We'll put this down for a second. Then we're going to see where that hole is, and I feel it right here. We're going to put this little pin right here up into that hole there on the bottom, and once it's in, we're just going to take this little adjustable piece on the bottom here, we're going to turn it down just like that. Screw it down until it touches your deck. Okay, once it touches your deck, we're going to put our screw right in there. Okay, next we'll take this, pull it down like that, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so our deck project is now finished. The railings are on, the deck boards themselves are down, everything is absolutely perfect. A couple of things I did learn while doing this project here, and you always learn something new, is a couple of things. One, open up all the boxes of your railings to make sure that all your railings are in good shape. I opened up 3 of the boxes, but I should have opened up all of the boxes because, as you saw, the last railing I went to put up, when I opened the box up, it was broken. It took a little over a week, which was pretty early. They told me it was going to take 2 weeks before it came in, but it came in a little bit earlier than anticipated. So I would recommend make sure you open up all your boxes, make sure everything is in good shape. A couple of other things I learned is that the joists that they sent to me from the big box store, take a look at them. If they're crooked or bent, don't even use them. Call up the store and get replacements, because I had to bring back 2 of the joists that was sent to me. They were so crooked that had I put them on there, I would have been never able to attach the decking to it. So make sure you check all of your joists before you do anything. Make sure you have the correct hardware. And most importantly, measure it out before you cut anything. These railings, even though you saw me cut them one time, I actually cut them 3 or 4 different times to make sure that it was absolutely a perfect tight fit, because you can never cut a railing longer, you can only cut a railing shorter. So make sure you don't cut it too short the first time, and then you really have a problem because it's not going to fit properly. Other than that, that was really the only things, the only issues that I ran into. Oh no, one more thing. Make sure when you get your Trex decking that it's the same color, because we ordered something like 60 pieces of Trex from them to be delivered. And when I started going through the pile, I found out that 2 of the deck boards were different colors. Instead of being the gray that I had ordered, they were actually tan. So make sure your colors are good. We also found another issue is that a lot of the material had paint stains on it. From what? I have no idea. So make sure you order a few extra decking boards before you start your project. You're better off having to return a couple than to have to wait and get replacement decks, especially if it's in the summertime and the project is underway and everybody else's project is running too and you run short on material. So make sure that everything is in good shape before you start it. And that's it. This job is done and we're on to the next one. If you like this channel and you'd like to subscribe to it, please hit the button down below, highlight the bell, and you'll be notified of future uploads. All right, so this job is done and we're on to the next one. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.